When history tells its grand tales of civilization, it speaks of kings and empires, of conquests and inventions. But hidden beneath those stories are the silent heroes, the plants that fed the people, restored the earth, and made survival possible. Among them is a humble climber, a plant so resilient that it turned barren dust into fertile life for more than 4,000 years. It thrived where other crops failed, and it gave back to the soil more than it ever took. Its name is Lablab purpureus, the Lablab bean, a plant whose quiet power has shaped landscapes, nourished generations, and might just hold the key to the future of sustainable farming. Long before chemical fertilizers, before modern science understood the soil, farmers in ancient Africa had already discovered something remarkable. They noticed that after growing this bean, their next crops grew stronger, greener, and healthier. Even on land they thought was exhausted. They didn't know about nitrogen or microbes. They simply knew the earth seemed to heal itself. What they stumbled upon was an ancient form of regeneration, a partnership between plant and bacteria that would quietly sustain empires from Africa to Asia. The Lablab bean's story begins in East Africa. Here, early farmers domesticated the plant thousands of years ago, selecting seeds that could endure harsh sun, thin soils, and uncertain rain. From the African highlands, traders carried its seeds across the Indian Ocean. Through monsoon winds and merchant ships, it reached the shores of India, then spread to Southeast Asia and the Mediterranean. Everywhere it went, farmers embraced it, not as a luxury, but as a dependable friend of the land. Where other crops demanded more, Lablab quietly restored what was lost. The secret to its power lies underground. Along its roots form small nodules, tiny worlds where nitrogen-fixing bacteria live. These microorganisms capture nitrogen directly from the air and transform it into nutrients plants can use. It's nature's chemistry at work, silent, invisible, and endlessly renewable. While most crops drain fertility from the soil, Lablab does the opposite. It builds it back, season after season. It is, in every sense, a plant that heals the earth. The Lablab bean became invaluable not only for its ecological gift, but also for its versatility. The young pods are tender and edible, a nutritious vegetable rich in protein and fiber. The mature beans can be dried and stored for years, a vital food source during droughts or famine. Its leaves feed both people and livestock, and the vines, when plowed into the soil, act as green manure. Nothing went to waste. Every part of the plant contributed to nourishment, to the land, and to life itself. Ancient farmers didn't separate food production from soil care. They were one and the same. In regions of Africa and India, farmers planted Lablab alongside millet, sorghum, or maize. The bean's vines climbed the tall stalks, shading the ground from sun and wind. Its fallen leaves decomposed into humus, enriching the earth with every passing season. After harvest, the remaining roots and vines were turned under, returning organic matter and minerals to the soil. This natural cycle meant that, generation after generation, the same piece of land grew stronger rather than weaker. It was sustainable agriculture long before the term even existed. Lablab is a survivor. Once established, it can withstand drought, poor soils, and even acidic conditions that stunt most other crops. In ancient times, this meant it could flourish on marginal lands, the places where grain failed and hope was scarce. By covering the ground, it also prevented erosion, protecting the thin layer of topsoil that makes life possible. For many small farmers, the difference between hunger and survival came from this simple vine, quietly working beneath their feet. Through centuries of trade, Lablab crossed borders and adapted to new climates. In India, It was sown after the monsoon harvest, giving the soil time to recover before the next planting season. In East Africa, it became part of shifting cultivation systems, rejuvenating the land between cycles of grain. By the time it reached Southeast Asia, it was celebrated for its vibrant purple flowers and edible pods, a rare balance of beauty and purpose. Everywhere it went, it carried the same quiet message. The earth gives, if we give back. Then came the industrial age. Chemical fertilizers promised endless yields. Farmers abandoned traditional practices, believing the new methods were superior. For a time, it worked. Crops grew faster. Fields looked greener. But beneath the surface, the soil grew tired. Its structure weakened, microbes disappeared, and fertility faded. The ancient knowledge of natural regeneration, the kind that Lablab represented, was nearly lost. Only now, as modern agriculture faces crisis, are we beginning to look back and rediscover what our ancestors already knew. Today, scientists and gardeners alike are returning to the Lablab bean. As a cover crop, it's a powerhouse of regeneration. It shades the soil, suppresses weeds, attracts pollinators, and feeds beneficial organisms underground. Its deep roots break up compacted soil, allowing water and air to flow freely once again. Even when cut down, the decaying vines feed earthworms and microbes, the foundation of healthy soil life. It is, quite literally, a self-sustaining system, powered by sunlight, air, and time. In modern gardens, Lablab can be grown alongside tall crops like corn or sunflowers, just as ancient farmers did. Its vines climb upward, its roots work below, and both plants benefit. The bean nourishes the soil nourishes the grain, and together they form a living partnership. For home gardeners, trellises or fences can support the vines, while their broad leaves provide shade for tender plants beneath. What once sustained civilizations can now sustain our backyards, a small act of harmony that echoes across millennia. In a world facing droughts, floods, and soil exhaustion, crops like Lablab offer hope. They remind us that sustainability isn't a new idea. It's ancient wisdom rediscovered. By learning from the past, we can build a future that's resilient, abundant, and alive. Every Lablab seed planted today carries the DNA of thousands of years of partnership between humans and nature. When you plant Lablab, you're not just growing food, you're continuing a legacy. You're healing the same soil that fed empires, guided traders, and nurtured generations. You're part of an ancient rhythm that turns waste into life and scarcity into plenty. The Lablab bean may be small, but its lesson is vast. True abundance doesn't come from taking more from the earth, but from giving back to it. That's the wisdom our ancestors left us, and the future that still lies in our hands. If this story of ancient resilience and modern renewal inspired you, subscribe to Forgotten Survival, where forgotten knowledge meets the world of today. Let's keep rediscovering the plants, people, and ideas that built our civilization and can still save it.